Good morning and welcome to Web2Point0tv live from Austin at the Initech Trade Show here in downtown beautiful Austin, Texas. We're at the Austin Convention Center. We're sitting down this morning with Andy Ewing from Luminex. Andy, wanted to talk with you a little bit about Luminex, and can you give us a brief overview of what Luminex is trying to accomplish in the marketplace right now and what your role is within the company and what you're doing proactively?
Sure. So Luminex was founded in 1995. We're headquartered here in Austin. We have offices in Toronto and Amsterdam as well.
Excellent.
We're a global company. We're a channel company. And so our products get distributed out into the market through a little over 50 strategic partners that we have worldwide. And so as you can imagine, we work very, very closely with those partners to continue to develop and adapt and promote applications on our platforms out in the marketplace and then get those out into a variety of different industries relative to life sciences, whether it be pharmaceuticals or diagnostics or leading research agencies around the world. One of the areas as a company we're specifically focused on is maintaining our position as a leader, as a multiplex provider of solutions globally.
Okay.
And so with the 4,500 instruments that we have out in the market in different aspects of geographical aspects, as well as the open architecture of our platform and the thousands of applications that have been developed on our platform through our partnerships, we're well positioned to do that, and it's a nice place for us to be. It's exciting.
Absolutely, absolutely.
My role within Luminex specifically is that I lead the different organizations that make up technical operations. And so that consists of 4 primary functions for Luminex.
Can you break those down for us?
You bet. It's the remote services, which make up hardware, software, and assay support. So it's a combination of call center activity all the way to scientists that are in a lab working with our partners or end users on the backside, trying to help them troubleshoot assay questions.
Wow.
Then we have remote services or on-site services, which are field-based resources that go on-site to do hardware service and repair,
okay.
As well as assay ramp up and facilitation and validation for our customers in the field. We have product education, which we spent a great deal of time and money on the last several years.
Very important.
And then a small sales and marketing group that facilitates aftermarket product sales for those aspects.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. It seems like you're handling a lot of balls there.
There's a lot of balls.
A lot of stuff up in the air.
Yeah.
How would you define Web 2.0 as it pertains to your marketplace right now? And what have you seen in terms of advancements of that technology over the last 12 to 18 months?
That's a good question. So our industry is a little different in that it's highly regulated. And so it's a little narrower of an aspect as far as getting technology out there. It's a little more.
So you're operating under some pretty narrow constraints, pretty tight boundaries.
We are, yeah. However, one of the things, I guess the easiest way I could probably explain it is that the ability for information sharing and for knowledge communities to develop themselves out in the market, hugely beneficial. And one of the things that we track as a company are the number of publications that we see on our platforms. And so as different laboratories are doing different development of assays and testing techniques, et cetera, then as those go forward, they'll produce publications, those reference our platform, and so we track that. It's a good indication of adoption in the marketplace for us.
Excellent.
We've seen a steady growth in that over the last 2 to 3 years, and that activity, I think, is largely due to the ability for these user groups to develop themselves, share information, collaborate, be very interactive, and really help each other as they continue to develop things. Geographically, they wouldn't have otherwise met, but online they can do these things in ways that they have similar results and end results they're trying to achieve.
So they can come together with common interests and common goals and pretty much accomplish what they couldn't accomplish locally through kind of networks. And then you are tracking all of this data and monitoring what their needs are, what their usage needs are, and trying to fulfill those on an ongoing basis.
Oh, absolutely. So we get a tremendous amount of feedback from that activity. We get a tremendous amount of feedback from the ability for the users to feel like they have a voice where they can represent that without having to come to a conference, without having to come to a face-to-face user group, that sort of thing.
So would you say that this collaborative method, Web 2.0 kind of ideology, is changing the world as a whole, the global marketplace? And if so, where is it falling short? Where do you feel that these collaborative methods maybe could use some improvement?
I think it's definitely changing the world. I think the ability for businesses and users, and I think different aspects of it, but from the user side, the flexibility and the customization ability they have and the ability to interact and really create their own environments in this marketplace that's out there of their own is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Right? And
Very powerful.
it's a way now that wasn't 2 or 3 years ago, and it's accelerating everything that is done in business.
Yep.
And so, from the business side, I think looking at market adoption has had to wholly change, right? The way that, historically you've had to go find market adoption and address it and try to analyze what usability was out there and utilization was out there on platforms and different technologies. With this sort of interactivity that's out there, I think that's completely changed, and it's accelerated the activity that can take place in regards to communications without the businesses themselves having to facilitate and pull it all out of the market.
Exactly.
Right? Where is it falling short? I don't know. That's a tough question. I think anything that you depend on wholly in different degrees can be hard, right? And it can be dangerous.
I agree.
And so I think
there's no one-stop solution for anything.
There's not. An IP can be a potential problem if it's not maintained, but I think to a large degree it's all extremely positive, and it's a great avenue for users and businesses alike to really find a place to meet without having to do it formally in a setting like this.
Now you mentioned that it used to be that a company would have to be very proactive, go out there and make sure that you're paying attention to these needs and farm the information back. But with these social networking platforms and with Web 2.0 technology, the users are really pushing their information back to you and expressing their needs. But that's only going to continue to escalate as Web 2.0 continues to empower the end users to voice their concerns and their demands, absolutely, of Luminex and of the marketplace. How do you intend to proceed to listen carefully to those demands most effectively?
I think you just hit it on the head. So it starts with listening.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So it's extremely simple thing, commonly missed. And so, for us, that's where we start. We listen. And we have made great strides to continue to develop avenues where we can listen to the entire channel for us. Again, we're a channel-based company, and so one of our challenges is supporting the partners, but also getting access to the end user community that's using the technology and getting that feedback. And
keeping that communication open.
We have done a variety of things over the last 2 years to really enable those users to have a voice, as well as the partners, as well as the distribution chains from within the partners channel. And so listening to all of that, taking that feedback and understanding how the market is evolving and what they need, and then trying to get ahead of that curve is something that we spend a great deal of time on. And that's where we start. I think that any company, especially in today's age, has to remain extremely nimble and flexible.
Very mobile.
This market changes dramatically, it changes very fast, and the needs and the demands and the desires of those that use the technology change extremely fast.
Absolutely.
And so our ability to anticipate those things and then adapt and then develop products that address them is huge. And that's where we spend a great deal of our time. And then with all of the things that go on within Web 2.0 and the ability for people to really develop applications out in the field, out of their own living room, wherever they may be, as they customize things.
Yeah.
So for us, especially operationally, monitoring the technology that's evolving out there and being developed, and then finding ways to analyze that, assess it, where there's validity to it, implementing it into an operational environment that we can get efficiencies out of it, and ultimately find value for customer experience as they interact with Luminex is huge. And that's really where our focus is for the next several years.
Amazing stuff, Andy. It sounds like Luminex is doing some incredible, very innovative concepts. Andy Ewing with Luminex, thank you for joining with us today.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.